Hi everyone. Okay, so I haven't done a book haul in like a month, and because of that, it's kind of all piled up. I meant to do it as the books were coming in, but that was all mostly in January when I didn't have the time or the energy because I was either very socially busy or I was ill. Um, so it's all kind of built up around me. But I'm still gonna do it in installments, and this will just be belated. I have little categories that the books are in, so I will kind of go by the different categories, and most of these are actually books in series because my main project for 2019 that I am very excited about is going to be reading the series on my shelves. And what that means is either like little series that I own, like duologies or trilogies, or reading some bigger series that I own that I've already started. Some of those I won't be able to finish in the calendar year because there's literally so many books that I can't finish it within a calendar year. Two examples are the Poirot series and the Discworld series. And then lastly, continuing on with series that I've already started where I'm kind of within the finish line, like, I only have 2 or 3 books left or something like that. But the thing about that is that I was very excited for this project, but some of the series that I have, I only have part of the series, so I wanted to kind of fill in those gaps a little with my Christmas and birthday book purchases. So first, we have 4 books in the Poirot series. I'm not reading as many Poirot this year. Last year, I think I read about 14, and that was awesome. But the thing about it is I ended up kind of gradually reading like 1 a month, and then I ended up reading like 7 in the last 2 months because there were a couple months that I skipped. And I love the Poirot books, but that was too much Poirot in that period of time. So this year I don't have that end goal of wanting to get to the Christmas book because I've already read that one. So I'm kind of diminishing the number to about 7, and then that way I can still get to the book that's based on my favorite, not based on, book that was adapted into my favorite episode of Poirot ever, which is After the Funeral. But then I also have room for reading some Marple, reading some Tommy and Tuppence, Standalone, Superintendent Battle, etc. And then the one that I'm starting with this year is actually Sad Cypress. So chronologically, I'm going from Sad Cypress through to After the Funeral, and these were some of the ones that were missing in the middle. So first we have Mrs. McGinty's Dead. And this one says, Mrs. McGinty died from a brutal blow to the back of her head. Suspicion falls immediately on her shifty lodger, James Bentley, whose clothes reveal traces of the victim's blood and hair. Yet something is amiss. Bentley just doesn't seem like a murderer. Could the answer lie in an article clipped from a newspaper 2 days before the death? With a desperate killer still free, Hercule Poirot will have to stay alive long enough to find out. I remember really liking this TV adaptation, and I don't quite remember the whodunit. So that's exciting. I'm hoping I'm gonna really like that one. And then we have Evil Under the Sun, and this is one where I remember I definitely watched the TV adaptation, but it's been so long since I've seen it that I literally remember like one scene from it, and it's not a scene that gives anything away. So this will kind of be like coming to this brand new for me. So this one says, the beautiful bronzed body of Arlena Stewart lay face down on the beach. But strangely, there was no sun, and Arlena was not sunbathing. She had been strangled. Ever since Arlena's arrival, the air had been thick with sexual tension. Each of the guests had a motive to kill her, including Arlena's new husband. But Hercule Poirot suspects that this apparent crime of passion conceals something much more evil. Dun dun dun. Excited. Same actually goes for 1-2 Buckle My Shoe. I remember watching the episode, but I literally only remember maybe the first scene of the whole thing. So this will be kind of like brand new for me. This says, even the great detective Hercule Poirot harbored a deep and abiding fear of the dentist. So it was with some trepidation that he arrived at the celebrated Dr. Morley's surgery for a dental examination. But what neither of them knew was that only hours later, Poirot would be back to examine the dentist, found dead in his own surgery. Turning to the other patients for answers, Poirot finds other darker questions. That sounds really creepy and scary, so I'm interested. Last but certainly not least, the one that I'm most excited for actually, is The Labors of Hercules. First of all, can we just say how awesome this cover is? Like, look at this. I think that is so cool. And this one is the one that I'm most intrigued and excited for in this pile because I've seen the Poirot TV adaptation and it was one of my favorites. It's definitely one of the most sinister ones that I've seen, and one of my favorite actresses is in it as one of the main characters. And there were also other actors and actresses who I've seen in other things before that I like, who were also other main characters. So the cast itself is awesome. But then also, the interesting thing about it is it was adapted as one of the later Poirots. Like, it was in season 13, which was the last season, and I think it was the maybe second to last episode, maybe. I'm not quite sure. And it actually has a very linear story, but this one is actually, I think when it comes to the timeline, it's actually in the middle of the Poirot series, or like, you know, close to the middle sort of, because I think I just read book like 20 or something, so this is, okay, so it's kind of in the second half, but it's not nearly as late as the TV adaptation would have it be. And also this is, I believe, short stories. So I'm wondering if the short stories are connected in the book, or I don't know. So that'll be really interesting. So I'll read you guys the back of this. This says, in appearance, Hercule Poirot hardly resembled an ancient Greek hero. Yet, reasoned the detective, like Hercules, he had been responsible for ridding society of some of its most unpleasant monsters. So, in this period leading up to his retirement, Poirot makes up his mind to accept just 12 more cases, his self-imposed labors. Each would go down in the annals of crime as a heroic feat of deduction. So, yeah, this will be very exciting. Next, we have two books that I'm sorry to say I cannot read you guys the backs of because they are further down the line in a series that I'm only about to start book 5 for, I believe. So first is The Graves of Fine and Private Place by Alan Bradley. This is the 9th book in the Flavia de Luce series, and it's also the penultimate book. And I got that for myself for Christmas with Christmas money, or I should say after Christmas with Christmas money. And then The Golden Tresses of the Dead, which is book 10, and it's the final book. This just came out on January 22nd, and I pre-ordered it because I was so excited. And since it came out a week after my birthday, I justified it being a birthday treat for myself. And I love this cover. I love the pink. I love the wedding cake and the train and the fact that the cake toppers are skeletons. It's definitely one of my favorite covers that has been in the series. And, you know, I'm really sad that the series is ending. Like, I'm so sad this is the last one. But at the same time, I am so excited because since I've only read through book 4, but I own the rest of the series, you know, I have all year to enjoy the rest of these books. Okay, last but not least of these books, we have three romance novels. These are all historical romance because that's what I read. You guys, I think, know this story by now, but I'm going to do a quick recap. In 2014, I went through basically the equivalent of a breakup, and it took me a couple of months to get back into my reading. And when I did, I decided that I was not going to read romance at all. Like, I was like, I will never read these books again. I literally couldn't. And so I decided it would be a great idea. Instead of the smart thing would have been put these all in a box and put them in your closet because you eventually will miss them. No, that wasn't my thinking at the time. My thinking at the time was, I will never read these again, put them in a box, give them away. No, that was so dumb. I threw out like so much money worth of books, and they were all like, I wasn't deeply attached to all of them, but I was deeply attached to a lot of them. And that was just the dumbest book decision I've made so far. So I started realizing how dumb that was about like a year and a couple months ago, and so that was when I kind of started reading romance again, and then this year I'm starting to collect back some romance novels, and these are 3 of them. These may be my first physical romance books that I've actually bought again to kind of rebuild my collection. But the one that I had to get first is Rose in Winter by Kathleen E. Woodiwiss. This I read for the first time when I was 16 or 17, and I read it because I don't know why I think I was Googling like Beauty and the Beast and or Phantom of the Opera retellings on Google, and this was in one of the lists. This is literally a cross between Phantom of the Opera and Beauty and the Beast, which you had me there. And also, like, the Rose, the Snowdon Castle, like, I was so there for this book. And it's also, like, you could say that Beauty and the Beast and Phantom of the Opera are 2/3 of it, and that the other third is a different classic, but I can't actually tell you what that is, because telling you that would kind of give away the major twist that happens in this book, so I'm not going to do that. But yeah, it's mostly Beauty and the Beast meets Phantom of the Opera. And so I bought it and I read it when I was 16, and then proceeded to read it between 20 and 50 times after that, before I stupidly got rid of my copy. So I'll read you guys the back of this. This says, the enchanting raven-haired daughter of the village mayor, Irene Fleming, is the fairest bloom in her English village, and of all who desire her, she would have only one, the dashing, witty young Yankee, Christopher Seton. But a marriage for love is not to be, as Irene is auctioned off to the highest bidder to help pay off her irresponsible father's debts. And in the end, it is the enigmatic Lord Saxton who purchases her hand, a tragic and secretive noble who hides his scars behind mask and cloak, and who only appears to her after nightfall. Resigned to a solitary life in cold and rambling Saxton Hall, Irene slowly learns the true nature of the stranger she calls husband. A gentle and adoring soul, he treats his new bride with warmth and abiding tenderness. But though she valiantly longs to remain true to her elusive, mysterious spouse, Irene feels herself irresistibly drawn to Christopher Seton's passion, his fire, and his intrigues. And soon she will have to make a devastating choice between her duty and her heart. Yeah, it's amazing. I highly recommend, if you are a fan of Beauty and the Beast, Phantom of the Opera, or romance, read this. Next is a duology. This is A Kiss to Remember and One Night of Scandal. This is the Fairley Sisters duology. I will read you guys this first one. It says, Laura Fairley needs a husband if she is to keep the roof over her siblings' heads. The prim rector's daughter must wed by her 21st birthday. When she finds a mysterious stranger with the face of an angel and the body of Adonis, unconscious in the forest and with no memory of his name or his past, she decides to claim him for her own. Little does she know that her fallen angel is really the devil in disguise. Sterling Harlow, the notorious Raquel known as the Devil of Devonbrook, awakens to the enchanting kiss of a lovely woman who informs him he is her long-lost betrothed. With her sun-kissed cheeks and smattering of freckles, she looks every inch the innocent, but her curves possess a woman's allure. When she assures him he is the perfect gentleman, he wonders if he's lost his wits as well as his memory. He would have sworn he was not a man to be satisfied with mere kisses, especially from lips sweet and luscious as Laura's. As he attempts to uncover the truth before their wedding night, a kiss to remember ignites passion neither of them will ever be able to forget. So there's that one. And then this one is One Night of Scandal, which is the second one. And this says, proper decorum has never come easily to Carlotta Ann Fairley. Not even tonight, when the lovely, impetuous Miss is finally making her debut. As she waits to make her entrance, she can't help wondering about the darkened house next door, the supposedly abandoned home of Hayden St. Clair, the man society has dubbed the murderous Marquis. Certainly one small peek through his window before the festivities would be harmless, and naturally the latest adventure ends in disaster, thoroughly compromising the budding debutante's reputation and leaving her suddenly, unthinkably betrothed. Soon she's en route to the wilds of Cornwall, yay, in the company of the handsome, mysterious Marquis, whose name the ton... Anyway, whisper with fear and loathing. Town, maybe? I don't know. Yet there is something thrilling and surprisingly tender about her dark, unreachable groom, and the desire in his eyes is undeniable. But before Lottie will surrender to the yearnings in her heart, she must unlock the secrets of Hayden's past, no matter how scandalous or perilous they may be. I actually accidentally read this one first last year from the library, and I loved it, and it was great as a standalone, but then I realized it was part 2, and I was like, I need to read part 1 then. And my library didn't have part 1, neither did Barnes & Noble, so I finally ordered it. And when I ordered it, I really wanted this one too, because I loved it that much. So I now have the duology, and I'm halfway through this one and really enjoying it. But I think of the two, I really like this one a little bit more, because this one I really couldn't put down, and this one I've put down several times. But I enjoy them both, especially as a duo. So there's these. And I'm going to stop here, and I hope this even uploads because it's almost 18 minutes long. And I will see you guys for the next one. So let me know what you think of any of the books I've talked about, and talk to you later. Bye.